Hello, everyone. Happy Thursday. Happy full moon in Gemini. Welcome to another edition of The Signal Live. I'm MyShawn Gholar, President and CEO of Emerge, the nation's largest network of women elected officials and candidates. And I am co-anchoring tonight with this beautiful, brilliant, badass woman that you see on the screen next to me, Marilyn Mosby.
Hey, Ashanti. Hello, everyone. This is Marilyn Mosby. I am the founder, managing partner of Mahogany Elite Consulting and the former state's attorney for Baltimore City. I am so excited and so happy to be here alongside of this queen. This woman is a true leader. You talk about badass. This is she, right? A woman that is leading and doing the work every single day, not only leading, as she's already indicated, one of the nation's largest organizations of women elected officials and candidates, but actually doing the training herself and responsible for a number of us that are in service. So I am so incredibly honored to be here with you, Miss Ashanti.
The feeling is mutual, my sister.
Oh, good. So I am really excited about tonight's show, guys. We have a lot to cover. Now that Black Friday is finally over, we'll have an exclusive conversation with two organizers behind the We Ain't Buying It boycotts. They will respond to Trump's narrative and even more. We'll talk about the State of the People Power Tour movement and get behind the scenes intel where we're pulling back the curtain on the movement that is the state of the people. In our segment on Young Leaders on the Rise, we'll be talking to the brand new 19-year-old county supervisor, yes, 19, supervisor in Virginia, who beat his own former teacher in an election to make history. In our segment on Rest in Power, we'll take a moment to honor some of our heroes who have now become our ancestors. And finally, on the A Word segment, we will impart a moment grounding and guidance from Pastor Earl Fisher. I cannot wait. I'm really excited about today's show.
I am so pumped. This is going to be another great show. This is The Signal Live, brought to you by State of the People TV, where we are tuning into the pulse of the people.
That is so incredibly powerful. I am in awe by what we've been able to accomplish at this movement. This has been phenomenal sort of organizing, to say the least, right?
It still is.
And the fact that we are going to speak with two of the powerhouses behind the We Ain't Buying It boycotts that are going to join us tonight. I really am excited about it all.
Same. And, it's not surprising to me that this whole boycott movement, not just Black Friday, started off with Black leadership. Like, this is what we do. But Marilyn, something that made me laugh is, I don't know if you saw all those people that got played by Target when they literally...
Did you see that? Correct. First of all, I've seen way too many of us in that line. And then when we got to the top, what they get in that little swag bag, they got some nerds and lip gloss. And that has to show. Like, at the end of the day, they would not be the ones at the boycott in the 60s, right? Like, it was like, what are we doing?
It was just like, oh my goodness. And I will say, seeing some of our people, I was like, Have you not seen how their stock is plummeting? That's all they could afford to give y'all.
Well, they look like they look like some nerds in that line. I'm just saying.
I will say my favorite comment came from, of course, a Black woman, and she said, "That swag bag looks like the bottom of my toddler's play purse." And
Correct.
I was just like,
that's sad. But anyways, we're starting off and we're going to have an exclusive interview. As I stated before, we have two powerhouses behind the We Ain't Buying It boycotts that are going to join us tonight. And first, we're going to start off and I want us to welcome, soon we'll be on with Tamika Mallory, but MyShawn Lenon. These are two co-founders of the Until Freedom and co-hosts of the Street Politicians podcast. MyShawn and Tamika were key architects of the We Ain't Buying It campaign that targeted major retailers during Black Friday weekend. And so I'm really excited. We have, how are you today, MyShawn? How's it going?
I am blessed, Queen. How are y'all doing today?
We're doing well, Ashanti.
we are doing great. And
well, you look amazing as usual.
thank you. Thank you. So just thank you for everything that you have done, because everyone, we have to recognize this is hard work. Like Tamika and MyShawn, they make this look easy, but
They sure
it's also
do.
a testament to why Black people, we're the best organizers. Nobody ain't got nothing on us.
And I want to say, Tamika, you are on. Thank you, sis. I mean, every time I see you, you're either shutting down a panel, you're starting a movement, or you're exposing somebody righteously. And I'm convinced that you regenerate energy from injustice, like some sort of superhero.
I get
in America, there's a lot of injustice. So
actually, I regenerate energy from you, from Ashanti, from MyShawn, of course, and from all the great sisters, especially sisters around me. I mean, I am blessed to have the influence of so many powerful Black women and Black men who support me. I think about Cora Masters Berry, who is my mentor, the widow of the late, great Marion Barry, Honorable Mayor Marion Barry. And every single day, she's like brushing me off and sending me back into society. Like, you can do it, get yourself together, stop whining. And so that's just a beautiful thing. And that's what makes us continue to do the work that we're doing. So thank y'all so much for doing this tonight and for having us back on.
Of course, Tamika, of course. And I mean, Malcolm told us 60 years ago, the most disrespected person in America is the Black woman. And every news cycle, it seems intent on proving that right. So, even still, we're strategizing and we're building people power. And people power, these boycotts are rolling across the country. You guys are doing major things. Last week, we spoke with some of your colleagues behind the We Ain't Buying It. The Black Friday has now come and it has now gone, and we're kicking off the holiday shopping season. And yet the White House is calling this the best Black Friday we've ever seen.
Of course they are.
To that type of narrative.
How do we respond to lies? And by the way, by the way, I'm not suggesting that people haven't shopped, right? I think, first of all, we need to frame what this movement is all about, right? Absolutely. We do not think for one moment that we have some special dust that when we sprinkle it, everybody is just going to listen and fall in line. But we have to start somewhere. We've got to change attitudes and habits, and it takes time. Part of the problem with our movement is that folks are looking for, or not just our movement, with our society in general, and why some people get so frustrated so quickly and kind of, they can't stick long to the fight that is necessary for us to get this work done. They don't have the stamina, is because they're looking for a quick turnkey operation. It doesn't work that way. It is a process that took us a long time to get where we are, and it's going to take us a long time, but hopefully not as long as the 400 plus years that it took to get us here. But it is going to take time and discipline for us to turn this thing around. And in order to do that, you can't be afraid to step out and say, we might only marginally move the needle this time, but guess what? In 6 weeks, when we have another campaign, we'll see more people join. But the one thing I know is that we cannot believe or trust anything that this current administration, nor the data that we see in this moment, nothing that it says, because what we know is that these people lie. They lie about everything. So why would they ever come out and say that they will skew the numbers to make sure that no matter what loss they may have taken, they will still find a way to look at any slight uptick as the thing that they want to exploit, so that we look like we're not doing the work. I know for a fact that people stayed home this week, on this past weekend. I know that the movement of we ain't buying it is strong. I know because I don't talk to data analysts, although I know there are people among our group of folks from the great Letitia Brown to, the names go on and on. Let me not get myself in trouble for calling all of our names, but I have to give my sister Letitia Brown so much credit for her leadership in bringing us all together under this campaign. They talk to the data analysis. And they do that. I talk to Ray Ray and Pookie and TT and Nene them. That's where I get my data from. And I know for a fact that people are not spending money, especially in Target, and of course in other companies where they do not feel respected. And it is our job to continue to build on that and not to listen to people try to trick us out of knowing that the work is powerful and that the work is actually important for such a time as this.
Agreed. I think that's the beauty of it, though. I think it's about strategy, and Black communities are done begging for equity from institutions built on inequity, right? And that's what you guys have been able to successfully do, is to strategize and to organize. My son, some Black consumers have expressed frustration, saying, I honestly don't have the money to pay online separate shipping fees, and lose the savings of Target sales and specials when shopping for individual Black-owned vendors. How do you address the accessibility gap for working class families?
Well, we understand that everyone is going to have some level of struggle, right? We're going to have some level of sacrifice. Some people are going to have to pay more. Some people are going to lose. When the boycott first started, people talked about the vendors, the Black vendors that were in the stores that were losing things. We understand that that is a reality. And if we actually want to get what we actually set out to get, then we have to make sacrifices. We might have to pay an extra $1. We might have to say, if I can't afford to pay those shipping fees, then I shouldn't be buying it at all. And that's why we're saying we're not buying it, because we're in a stage right now where people can't afford to buy basic groceries. And we've been the main consumers in this country for years, and we understand our power, and we take away our spending, then we understand we start getting real respect. This is the best boycott since the Alabama boycott. Everybody has said it. This is the most successful. So we understand that we're going to take hits. We're going to have people mad. We're going to have, lies about in the media about it's not working, but we understand that it has to be led. Some of us are going to have to take the first steps. Tamika and others, Jamal Bryant and our
he represents Baltimore. Sorry.
Exactly. And they all set out and said, we're going to do this. And I believe that it is time. Everywhere I go now, I'm talking to wealthy people. I'm talking to middle class people, and everyone is saying that this economy is suffering. And if at the time when the economy is suffering, we can't take our dollar and say, I actually really need to save it. And I don't need those clothes. I don't need those shoes. I really can't afford whatever the sale is for Black Friday. I can't afford it right now. I really need to be saving because I might not be able to pay my rent. So if we can't do it at this time, then we'll never be able to do it anytime.
And I really want to stick with something that you said, because we have to let everyone know that This campaign was actually timed to coincide with the 70th anniversary of the Montgomery bus boycott. So We Ain't Buying It is really carrying forward the legacy of economic resistance. And can we just dive into it more? Because we know that we know it, we understand it, the older generations do, but particularly for our young people, this is a part of our legacy. This is how we continue to hold power as Black people when they like to tell us that we don't have any.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a spiritual journey, and it takes, consistency and discipline to bring people along. I really appreciate, and I don't know if you all experienced this, but throughout the process, even since January, when Senator Nina Turner, my fighting sister, called me up and said, "Hey, let's do this boycott against Target." She had called it, and she's like, "I wrote a check. Now I need somebody to come, some folks to come and help us make this thing real." People told us it's no way that you can get this boycott done. People are not going to stop shopping at Target. You're not going to impact their bottom line. I mean, our friends, people who are around all of us every single day, were calling. They were telling me, "Y'all gonna look crazy. Y'all need to back down off of this. It's not gonna work." And now we have watched Target stock drop to the lowest in years. Okay. We have watched people walk away from Target, and there are videos of, to your point, Ashanti, there are young people who are like, "I was in love with Target and now we broke up. I had to, they're doing TikToks and videos, honey. These people are making the best content." Sometimes I get in the boycott Target algorithm, and I can sit up all night just doom scrolling of people who are like, "I ain't going back to Target. Let me tell you where I go now." That's a movement. It didn't happen in one weekend. This is something that for months upon months upon months. And by the way, it's been building, because if you remember, people have been talking about economic sanctions, if you will, on the government and the corporations. I'm not saying economic sanctions against us, or as when we hear that term, we usually think of the government calling it. I'm saying the people have been talking about pulling their money from these corporations, these disrespectful,
for a long time.
For a long time. So we have arrived now at a place where we're actually doing the thing that we've been saying we're going to do. And no, everybody is not going to come along, but we will. And by the way, let me just make sure to say this, because I know we don't have a lot of time. What we found, and I think Nina Turner did tweet about this, and then I was reading an article. What happened during this Black Friday holiday is that people spent more money and got less product. So
yeah, like the nerds.
Wow. I thought to myself, Target has a lot of nerves.
Yes, it was a slap in the face.
Yeah, if I was
Tamika, you guys have been doing this since February, and it has already cost them $12.4 billion in market share, with their stock dropping from 140 points to 86.58. Like, this is effective. And before I let you leave, I would be remiss if I didn't ask you this question, Tamika. I have to get your take on what's happening with New York Attorney General Letitia James. You've been appointed to one of Mayor-elect Mondami's transition committees, and as a fellow Black woman in leadership, you and I both know that Black women leaders are under attack in a particular way right now. And as of an hour ago, actually 2 hours ago, the grand jury has thankfully declined to re-indict Attorney General James. But how do we protect Black women leaders right now? We're being undermined in dangerous ways.
Yeah, first of all, I'm so ecstatic today that these people, these racist people, are not able to take down our sister. Just to know, thank God that Tish has been able to prevail in this nasty, targeted attack against her. But guess what, Marilyn? Look at what you went through. Not all of us are going to be able to escape their trap, right? And so this is a very serious time, and I know for us as Black women, but for Black people, they have a mark on our heads. They have a mark on our heads. They're coming for Black elected officials. They're coming for Black leaders. They're coming for our children. And we've got to be unified and stick together and make sure, because one thing we did around Tish is that not just New Yorkers, but people around the country, they really held her tight. They showed up, they supported her, and made sure that she did not stand alone. And you saw that happen in the end. But in the beginning, Marilyn, you were like, hey, people, they got me hanging out here to dry. I need folks to show up. And I think we finally got it together, but we've got to do that for each and every one of us. Stand together with people in our community who step out to be leaders from the beginning and never back down, so that we have the support we need to fight this beast off, because it is truly, truly a beast. You know, we know what it's like for them to put their target on you and start, attacking you and doing that work against us.
No, you're absolutely right. And that's why this moment is so important. And we are so incredibly proud of the work. The two of you, again, it has been monumental. And we are incredibly proud that you are here with us and talking to our audience and giving us the real behind the scenes of, what it takes and what it's going to take for us to go forward and moving and ensuring progress.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes. I just want to say thank you to all of you strong, intelligent, leaderful Black women that I have no problem with following. I got into an argument with a guy who was trying to tell me about not following women, and I said, I'm surrounded by some of the most courageous, intelligent, beautiful Black women in this world, and I'll follow them to the end of the earth. So thank y'all for making me proud.
Oh, I love that.
Thank you, MyShawn. Thank you, Tamika. It is always so great seeing you both. And just thank you so much for your continued leadership and for responding in real time to this moment exclusively on the Signal Live. Everyone, if you like what you are seeing, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe. We want to see your comments, but most importantly, share with the people in your network that we are having these very important, timely conversations about what is happening in the Black community. Those are only happening every Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern on the Signal Live.
And family, before we have our next conversation, we want to hear from you. Next week, we'll introduce a segment called Keep It 100, and we need your voice to make it happen. Tell us right now in the chat, what questions do you have about what's happening in the world right now? And there are plenty of questions I'm sure that you have. And beginning next week, we'll have some experts join us to make it make sense. So put your questions in the chat right now and tune in next week. You may get your questions answered live on air, but we'll be right back.
I'm Corinna D. Wiggins, Deputy Editor for the State of the People Black Papers. By us, for us, free of exaggerated jargon, written plainly in a language our people have always understood. Speak truth to power. The Black Papers are a labor of love from experts and practitioners who love Black people, who are challenging us to collectively leverage our power to expand on the progress attained by our ancestors. To dismantle a system working as designed against us, we must understand it to change it. The Black Papers are an entry point to learning more about the policy pillars that directly impact our lives, from housing to education, economics, healthcare, infrastructure, security, and social justice. Clear and concise calls to action are woven throughout the Black Papers, providing our communities with strategies to combat anti-Blackness and achieve tangible progress. To view and read our full collection, please visit www.stateoftheppl.com/Black Papers and look forward to a printed publication coming out in 2026. Our chief editor, Dr. David Johns, reminds us that together, these papers constitute a critique and a roadmap, an assessment of where we are, and a blueprint for where we can go. In love and continued struggle, on behalf of the State of the People Black Papers Project team, these are our love letters to you. Thank you for reading.
I love the Black Papers, and y'all, if you have not read them,
Yeah.
literally produced by some of the smartest people that I know. Just amazing.
Absolutely. I mean, even the power tour, it reminded us that our people are powerful, we're organized, and we're ready. But the work didn't stop when the tour ended. It evolved. And tonight, we're talking to the leaders helping shape what comes next.
That's right. We have two of those smart powerhouse voices that I was talking about who have helped shape both the tour and the intellectual framework behind it. We are going to be joined by Ashley Breville, who will be speaking on the impact of the Black Papers during the State of the People Power Tour, and Desiree Bell, who will be reflecting on the Power Tour experience and where the movement is heading, because y'all know we ain't stopping. Hello, ladies. Welcome to the Signal Live.
Hello. Hi, thank you so much for having us.
Okay. I'm going to dive right in. A question for you, Ashley. The Black Papers really became a defining part of not just the State of People Power Tour, but of this movement that we have built. It's a brilliant blueprint of where we stand and where we must go. You know, what truth inside the papers just really resonates most in this moment? I would just love for you to tell us a little bit about what have been some of the things that you have heard from the community with the Black Papers. And is there something in there that you personally think is really important for the community to read?
Yeah, that's a great question. Thank you so much for that. The participating in the State of the People Power Tour was an incredibly enriching experience. And it really allowed us to have conversations in real time with people in the community, what they were experiencing. And the Black Papers was almost the perfect complement to that. And so one of the things that resonates with me the most was an experience we had in Baltimore, actually, for our National Assembly. We had a lady come to participate in our Black farmers market. And she came, she wanted to get some groceries. And this was a farmers market that most of the members of the community are familiar with. So they pull their cars up, the Black farmers load them up with groceries and all kinds of resources. But this lady came with just her hands. And so when she was asked about, do you have a car that you can pull up? She said, no, I came off the bus. I just brought, she had some grocery bags with her. And she said, this is all I brought. And so we talked with her a little bit about that. And she was just so moved that we were in the community and willing to provide support. She came with such deep vulnerability and trusted us to really be able to meet her needs. And so that resonated a lot with me in that moment about how the community trusts us as their own people, that if there's a need, that we will fill it. And so the Black Papers really became an extension of that, of us really taking that same trust that they brought to the tour and putting it in writing and seeing people through the scholarship connected with the economy, or we're talking about maternal health, or we're talking about policing, or we're talking about all of the things that we are seeing in real time that people are sharing with us. The Black Papers allowed us to document it in a way that doesn't make them feel like after the tour stop, they kind of become abandoned, that we drop in relief and then we take off. This is an opportunity for us to continue telling that story, sharing it with others, helping people feel seen, helping people feel validated. And so my hope is that when people are reading the Black Papers, that they see a part of themselves. They see something that they have experienced in real time being told and shared publicly, because in many times when our communities are going through things, when the media is not covering it, when people are not being impacted more globally, they feel ignored. They feel like they're not being seen. And so we are responsible for making sure that we are telling each other stories and making sure that people feel like we are always holding each other's hands and locking arms, even when everybody else feels forgotten and they feel like they're not seeing us. So that's what I hope that people get from the Black Papers, and what I hope that they feel as an extension of the Power Tour.
Yeah, I think the Power Tour was amazing. I mean, all of the cities that we had gone through across the country, the energy was dynamic. But as you indicated, right, folks are tired of the attacks on their dignity. They're tired of being gaslit, and they're ready for solutions and not just symbolism anymore, which is why the Black Papers have resonated, I think. And so, as you've already indicated, it's not just an academic policy, but they're actual blueprints. And so it comes to safety, economic stability, transforming our communities on our terms. So why is it, what, in your opinion, was it so important to create a political and cultural document that was rooted in Black clarity rather than waiting on institutions or traditional media to define that for us, as you were just suggesting?
Yeah, well, we know that the traditional media doesn't tell our story the way that it's meant to be told. And we're at a time where the truth no longer matters. And when people can manipulate the numbers, manipulate the data, that there's this glamorization of true hardship and true devastation that is happening in our communities. And so one really important thing was that we tell our stories the way that it actually happens in the reality of it. But we also are not leaning on despair, right? We are not talking about all of these problems from a place of devastation. We are also talking about it in forms of hope, right? In forms of forward movement and what we can truly do as a community if we band together. And so the Black Papers, what I love about them is that there's so many different lenses we're talking about it. So we're talking about what can we do immediately right now as a community, what we need to be doing in terms of policy, in terms of legislation, but we're also saying, hey, these are the community resources and organizations that are already doing these things. Connect with them. If you want to be a part of this movement, these are the things that you can feel that you can engage with that help you feel like you are moving toward progress. And so we are not waiting on anybody to come and save us. And I loved, Tamika had mentioned that some of the challenges with movements and boycotts are that people are looking for a quick fix. The Black Papers is really what ties together what's happening in the immediate moment and what we should be looking forward to in the future. So it helps people incrementally figure out, okay, after today, after our immediate needs are met, after we give you these groceries, after we can pay this light bill, after we can take care of this bail, what's next for our communities? And how do we leverage all of our collective power, all of our strengths to make sure that we keep going? We keep going, even if it's a baby step at a time, a little bit at a time. And so it's really, really important that we are the ones that are sharing that, because they're not going to give us those tools. They don't want us out of this fight. They don't want us to continue to liberate ourselves. So they're going to give us the opposite of that. So Black Papers is like, we are helping ourselves. We're not relying on anybody to save us. We are saving ourselves.
I can appreciate that. Desiree, I mean, the Power Tour wasn't entertainment. It was truly the movement that, lit the fire and started in the Black Papers. It was activation. What did it reveal about our collective power, and how should we carry that momentum forward?
So a couple of things. The tour really started with care, culture, and strategy. That was the focus, right? And so this multi-city tour was led by a diverse coalition of movers and shakers, change makers, disruptors, storytellers, artists, mommy, daddies, brothers, sisters, and cousins. And it was an amazing coalition of folks who probably wouldn't have worked together in any other way. I'm gonna keep it real with you, right? And so it was a reality that we have the power and we can't wait for anybody. And so, we are who we've been waiting for. There are a couple of things. I was on the national team for State of the People Power Tour and had the opportunity to also work with you, Marilyn, when we were at the National Assembly in Baltimore. But there were a couple of things, and helped to lead the Newark stop as well, which was the midpoint of the State of the People Power Tour. There were a couple of things that stood out. The first is that our people are not disengaged. We are very engaged. What we are is disillusioned by the systems that are failing to evolve and provide us what we are owed, right? Because this country was born on our backs. And so what I see the Black Power movement, because that is what we are building here. It exists and we're continuing to build the momentum. There's a desire for power to really be accountable, steeped in collective action, and for it to be focused in lived experience. And so whether it was having stories like Ray Lewis from Richmond, or having stories from Miss Kenya, who was an amazing volunteer in Newark, who showed up at 6:30 in the morning to volunteer and stayed until the end of the day. And when we reached out to all the volunteers to thank them, we found out that she was houseless, but she was giving of herself. And then she came back to be part of the State of the People Power Tour team to really come up with some solutions for folks in her community. And so the momentum is about building what we've already started. The Diverse Coalition is also about identifying what Ashley mentioned. We have some performance indicators here. This isn't just a gathering. We have some data points. And we're going to use those data points to make sure that we are not only just constantly working together, but making the significant impact that we need to make as we go forward. So what we learned was when we convene, we build. When we build, we mobilize, and that transforms communities. And we're going to continue to do that in 2026.
I love that. I mean, the fact that we're not waiting for approval from the very systems harming us, right? And that was what that movement, that is what the Black Papers are all about. I just want to thank you both, and thank you to Karina for her powerful message. The Power Tour may have ended, but the movement is still very much alive, and it is growing, and it is grounded in truth, clarity, and community power.
Yes, it absolutely is. Ladies, thank you so much. I got to be at the Baltimore stop, so I saw how much people loved having the farmers market. I got to be in Kentucky, which was just really fabulous. So thank you, ladies, so much. And for more on the Power Tour and the Black Papers, you can scan the QR code on your screen or visit stateoftheppl.com to find out more.
Coming up, we talked to a 19-year-old elected official making history. But first, let's honor our heroes who've broken barriers and joined our ancestors.
SNCC. The reason I articulated the sentiments of Black people was because SNCC had a public forum, not because I articulated the sentiments better than the brothers on the streets or brothers who didn't have that public forum. I don't think that you could articulate the sentiments of Black people last year any better than they did in Detroit. So I think the movement is a leaderless movement, whereas we might influence people, we do not control people.
Well, how does this solidarity come about if there is no specific leader?
I think eventually there will. I think as the struggle progresses, see, revolution does not occur in one stage. It's an evolutionary process, like people go through different things. The masses of people become involved, then leaders.
How have you been able to succeed where presumably there are dozens and dozens and dozens of musicians who started out this? Do you have more talent? Have you had better luck? What?
I believe everybody, I believe everybody has talent, but it's a matter of willpower and determination that does it, and a bit of luck.
Are you a very determined man?
Very.
Are you a dangerous man?
Oh, not dangerous. In what sense? In terms of what?
In terms of getting what you want.
I won't get what I want at any cost, like to be violent and that, but I do get what I want. I use my mind.
On May 31st in 21, I went to bed at my family's home in Greenwood, neighbors of Tulsa. The neighborhood I felt asleep in that night was rich, not just in terms of wealth, but in culture, community, heritage, and my family had a beautiful home. We had great neighbors, and I had friends to play with. I felt safe. I had everything a child could need. I had a bright future ahead of me. Greenwood could, Still, Greenwood should have given me the chance to truly make it in this country. Within a few hours, all of that was gone.
May they all rest in power.
Yes. Let's turn our attention to Surry County, Virginia, where young leadership and fresh ideas are beginning to reshape a small community. 19-year-old Cameron Drew just made history as the youngest person ever to elected to the Surrey County Board of Supervisors. His campaign promised more support for youth, lower taxes, and a push to attract new businesses. A bold agenda for a county facing the challenges and potential of growth.
Yes. And as someone who resides in Virginia, I am so excited about Councilman Drew. And we know as Surrey County begins updating its comprehensive plan, which is a blueprint for future development, and moves forward with a major agreement with the YMCA of the Virginia Peninsulas, this moment really feels like a turning point. Now, Cameron joins us to talk about what it means to govern at the age of 19, the hopes and pressures of representing youth and families, and why small town voices still matter in big nationwide debates about democracy, economics, and community. Because everyone, there's 520,000 elected offices in the country. The majority of them are at the state and local level. And that is why our state and local leaders, like Councilman Drew, is so important.
And let me tell you something. I mean, Ashanti, when I first saw that headline, I almost cried. Yeah. Not because he's young, but because it proves that our community is birthing leaders unbothered by the old guard sort of gatekeeping. That young man isn't waiting for permission. He walked right into the halls of power and said, "Good evening, I'll take it from here." Yes. And that's what this moment is all about. We're done asking for a seat. We're building the table. We're carving the chairs and calling the meeting ourselves. And I'm inspired.
I am too. Like, I'm so inspired. I already have him running for a higher office. You know, I kept calling him a councilman because I'm claiming it for you. He's a supervisor.
Well, welcome, Cameron. Let me say, at 19, you've made history in Surrey County. And so what motivated you to run for office at such a young age? And what message do you think your victory sends about where your community is headed?
Well, thank you all for having me. I'm thrilled to be up here tonight. Well, what initially made me want to run was I saw that there was not any representation whatsoever, and for the youth. I mean, the youth is a vital part in our community, but we also have a median age within that kind of 50.7 years old. That tells me that we are not retaining youth, and we need to figure out why we're not retaining youth. So I ran to show the youth that they had someone who was going to advocate for them all the time, every day, who I also wanted to be that inspiration for other young people in politics or in other young leadership positions, to tell them that you can run or be a leader when the status quo may say you're not ready. Age is just a number. I'm a person who says experience matters more than age. And my experience showed that, hey, I was ready. I served for a senator when we worked with a senator up in Capitol Hill in Richmond. I also worked on a campaign this past session where we were also successful. So we won 2 campaigns and one general election. So I really ran just to let people know that it's time for change. It's time for young people to step up, to advocate and push their concerns and opinions, and to be that change for society.
I'm so proud of you, because when I ran for state's attorney, I was the youngest chief prosecutor of any major American city in the country, and I was 34 at the time. But I cannot even imagine, taking on such awesome responsibilities at 19. So the fact that you had the courage and the audacity to know that, this is what you wanted to do and to make a difference in your community at such a young age is really, really inspiring.
It absolutely is. And I'm someone who got my political start in high school. So I'll be honest, even then, I wasn't thinking about running for office. I was just so excited to register to vote. And now I get to wake up every day and train women to run for office. So I could talk about people, especially young people, running for office all day, every day. But really, when it comes to young people, we know that you really represent a generation that feels unheard in politics. That's something that I hear all the time when I'm doing this work. It's why at Emerge, we really focus on getting more young women to step up and run for office. what do you want young voters in Surrey and beyond to really understand the power that they hold as young people? And that can be when you turn 18, then you can register to vote and then you run for office. But you talked about volunteering and helping out on campaigns, and that has such a huge impact as well.
Yeah, and what I can say is, rather than just my age and me beating my teacher, but this is a really important lesson of how your vote truly counts. I only won by 8 votes. Initially it was 10, but when the election was certified, they picked up 2 votes from my opponent, and I ended up winning by 8 votes.
Eight
But this shows,
8 votes.
yes, 8 votes. It was that close, and it shows how your vote really do matter. One of my mentors, who's actually a Black woman, and just a side note, like so many Black women have helped me along this journey, who've been mentors and role models for me, who showed me the way and led me. So I'm truly grateful for each and every Black woman in my life. I'm grateful for you all for all the work you all do. You all truly make our economy, our world run. So I'm grateful and thankful for each and every one of you. But also, I told 2 other young people who were hesitant about voting. I told them, I was like, I DM'd them on Instagram. I was like, hey, I need you all to get out and vote for me. And they were like, well, I'm at work right now. I said, well, maybe after you work, then you can vote. And they came up to me and funny thing, they told me, they said, now I need you to make sure you do the work for my vote now. But I told them, I said, hey, thank you, because your 2 votes were 2 votes that put me over top from my opponent. So,
absolutely.
yeah, so letting those young people know that, hey, your vote matters, but also, even if you, after you vote, or if you want to get into politics, but you don't know where to start, hey, just email or let your local official or your state rep know, or your congressperson know that, hey, I'm looking to get into politics. Where should I start, or where shouldn't I start? Or you can even contact me. I was just networking with other elected officials. That's how I got my first a position serving for Senator LaSharice Ayer up in the Capitol. Just put myself out there saying, hey, I'm into politics. I want to help people. I want to learn from you. I want to serve with you. And that's what got me started into it. But also just making trips up to the Capitol, just learning how governmental bodies run, paying attention in my government classes. I know that's a big thing. We were all in Virginia, it's required for us to take. So that is truly important. But just letting the young folks know that, hey, that you have someone who will advocate for you, that your vote matters, and just if you want to get into politics, hey, reach out. Don't be scared. Network and let people know that you are looking to make a change in your community, state, or nation.
I love that. What does success look like for you after your first year in office?
So what that looks like for me is just starting to deliver on some of the promises I made. Also making sure that the communities continues to have the resources they need to live, work, succeed, and thrive. I am a man of my word. If you look at my platform, nothing I said could not be accomplished. Actually, tonight I had my first board meeting where one of my platform pieces were lowering the tax rate. That is something that I'm still going to work towards. But something we did tonight was we adopted a resolution that would give a tax rebate of $200 back to the citizens of our county. So within my first meeting, of course, it was already the board who had worked towards that. But my first meeting, hey, I've already voted on something that I had promised and told the people that I work towards getting the money back into the pockets of our citizens. But also just ensuring that there's opportunities for the youth. And that was another big platform point, and ensuring that the youth are looked upon, they have that advocate and the resources they need. So those 2 things within my first year are 2 big things that if I look to do and get across, that would look very successful for me in my first year.
I love that. I love it.
Oh, just already getting to work, getting things done. And we could talk to you, of course, for so much longer, but we have to start wrapping up. And, Cameron, you give me so much hope. I know other people are feeling that way as well. You talked about 2 of the things you've already been able to get done, but really, what gives you hope for the future of your community?
What gives me hope is just to see the camaraderie within my community. if you've seen me and seen what I've done, I've had so much national attention. And in the turmoil we see in this world now, it brings me hope and joy to know that when we all rally behind something that is for good, for the better of all of us, that there is still hope alive. Not just to brag about myself and what I've done, but our county has, to me, I've seen a uplift, upbringing of joy within our county, and it's just been so positive and uplifting. And I'm looking forward to seeing more of that within my county, my Commonwealth, and also our nation, because it's too often we want to bicker and fight and fuss and have political enemies rather than political opponents or political allies. So I'm hoping and praying that we get back on track to what politics is all about, is doing the work for the people.
Absolutely. It sounds like you are doing the work for the people. And thank you for all that you do. We are inspired. Thank you for taking the risk and having the courage to step out there and to make a difference within your community and ultimately greater good for all of us. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much, because like Marilyn knows, I know stepping up to run for office, putting yourself out there, it's not easy. But we're so lucky to have the great people that do. And when I look at Cameron, the generational shift in office, it's upon us, Marilyn. And if that's what we're going to have, I cannot wait. I cannot wait. I am so excited. Everyone, don't forget to head over to stateoftheppl.com/TV right now to take action and find resources.
And subscribe at youtube.com/stateoftheppl so we can keep catching up here at the Signal Live every week.
Yes. We really appreciate all of you so much. We hope you liked it. We've been really enjoying all the comments. Just absolutely amazing. And Marilyn, it has just been so fun spending this time with you. It flew by. I'm like,
sure did.
Are we almost done?
I think it was like a natural flow, honestly, Ashanti. And so let me just be candid. My thoughts about everything that has happened today. I mean, when we're talking about Cameron Drew, who I think you agree is a symbol of the next generation, and recognizing exactly he's that symbolization of exactly what we've been fighting against, right? The disrespect, the neglect, the deliberate attempts to break us, that buck breaking. And I've experienced that in real time. But he's stepping up in a major way, right? Like boldly, unapologetically. And I love to see that, because even when we talk about the boycotts or the People Power Tour and the Black Papers, the movement isn't about celebrities and stages. It's about building infrastructure, political, economic, and communal, which is the ecosystem, right? And that ecosystem is how we win. One community at a time, one bold decision at a time, and one young elected official at a time. And so don't forget, y'all, share the burning questions you have in the chat right now for a chance to have them answered live on air next week.
Yes.
I want to offer to us a truth that our ancestors have already known. Chaos might be loud, but it can never silence a liberated people. We've survived too much. We've built too much. We've dreamed too much to ever let despair have the last word. Every attempt to intimidate or confuse or disorient us is nothing more than an attempt to get us to forget who we are. But we come from a people who refused to bow to bondage, who created beauty in the midst of brutality, and who turned survival into strategy and resistance into art. So even in this moment when the world feels so unstable, I need us to hear this. Our power is not fragile, our hope is not accidental, and our liberation is not optional. We are part of a long movement towards freedom. Our ancestors had ancestors. So even when the systems around us fail, there's a spirit that rises within us. So may we continue to organize and testify and tell the damn truth. because truth is a weapon, memory is a map, and community is the ground where new worlds are born. I'm Reverend Earl J. Fisher, PhD, and that was a word.